just know I'ma get it poppin', I'ma do my thing, I'ma blow the fuck up. Yeah, just know I'ma cash out, stack hella M's in my account. Yeah, just know I'ma have my dream girl in my dream house in my dream car. Just know I'ma be a legend, ain't no telling when, but yeah, just know.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to me and Pops Unplugged, the first official episode. We just want to take the time, me and Pops, to appreciate you guys for the support. There's been a lot of different people that have reached out to us the last few weeks, essentially just giving support, showing love. So it means more than you guys could ever know. So definitely appreciate it. First episode, right? So we want to keep this nice and simple. I'm Jason Jr.
I'm Senior, aka Pops.
And this is me and Pops Unplugged. So essentially, just to give you guys a quick synopsis. So this isn't your typical podcast, right? We're not sitting here and talking about, oh, what celebrities doing what. We're not sitting here and talking about political drama. This is about full-on transformation internally, just with, connecting with as many people as possible. Because in my belief, and I know Pops agrees with me, that's what's missing in the world right now. A lot of chaos. There's a lot of bull crap that everybody's dealing with, and a lot of majority of people are caught up in their own bubble, so to speak. So it's always nice to be personable and connect with people, and really just on a, humanity level, because I feel like humanity needs to get back to a certain extent to where we're all looking out for one another. It's not a selfish thing. It's not, everybody out for themselves. We got to get it back to a safe place where everybody is looking out. So that's just my personal opinion. But Pops, I wanted to basically introduce everybody to, obviously us and how this came to be, right? So we got the brand, we made a lot of moves up until this point. So,
well, first I'll say, kind of off of what you were just saying, as Junior said, we're just trying to put positivity out. And for me, anybody who follows me knows that the last 3 years of my life has been all about transformation. To be, fully transparent, I grew up in Philadelphia, sold drugs for a lot of years, ended up being, becoming addicted to said drugs, pills, whole pill epidemic, which, things spiraled and, my life became unmanageable to the point that, I was homeless, living in Kensington, and my life was a mess. So, what we're trying to do is what I tried to start doing 3 years ago is just take accountability. It was time for the madness to end, time for, take some personal accountability and realize that I was, the common denominator in all the things that were going wrong in my life. I started dealing with those things head on and, trying to improve myself every day in different ways. And even though we're going to touch on recovery a lot, it's not just recovery. It's, about promoting positivity and growth in all areas of our life, whether it be physical, recovery, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. So it's just about improving yourself every day and trying to put that out to the world and help others to become, better themselves. And that's what we're doing. Like, we started talking, I reached out to Jason. I've been writing for years and, had been journaling and, I wanted to put my message out to the world, things that I went through, how I changed myself. And, I was kind of looking for a partner and I wanted to do something, online with videos or such. And me and Junior started talking and, he wanted to do the same thing. So we realized, who better than to do it with than your own family, your own son, your own father. And, we decided to come up with a little brand. And, we're just trying to give back and help other people because in turn that helps us and it puts positivity out to the world. And we named it Unplugged because, we feel too many people, and myself included, I'm not exempt. We waste too much time on like reality shows, drama series that aren't real life. It's just a distraction. It's something that gets us by through our everyday life, because life becomes mundane and boring and it's, it's entertainment. But, that's the thing. Like, all these things out here are meant to distract us and distract us from the real issues, that are going on in the world, like Jason was saying, and, that kind of stagnate our growth and improvement. So, when we say unplugged, it's just like kind of like almost Kendrick Lamar, turn the TV off, unplug. start having conversations that deal with real issues, that even uncomfortable issues that we start talking about. And even if it starts here, we have a website set up, which we're going to get to, but, have people that can give us feedback, and we can all, start a conversation and some dialogue that helps all of us, not just us, but everyone, to improve their lives in different ways. And, that's really what we're trying to do. We're not special. We're obviously no celebrities. We don't have no big budget, everything, we don't have a big fancy studio. This and anything you see is all purchased on our own money. And we're doing this from the heart. We're really trying to touch people and, really trying to put positivity out to the world. So we just ask y'all to join us, on the journey. We're new at this. So we ask y'all to be patient with us. The production, the background, the aesthetics, the conversations, our, interactions with each other, our dialogue, our speaking, all of that will improve because this is new for us, just like, would be for anybody. So we just ask y'all to stay tuned with us, give us feedback, even if it's a critique, even if it's something negative we need to work on. We want y'all to, give us feedback, but we want to start the dialogue and basically change the narrative. The narrative, as Junior was getting at, the world is so much negativity. We're trying to change that narrative to something positive. Even if it's a small slice of that, put some more positivity back into the world, because whatever you put out in the world comes back to you. So anyway, with that said, I'll throw it back to Junior and go from there.
Hey, let's clap it up for Pops. Listen, that's well said.
Hey,
frankly, for what it's worth, it's not easy to put yourself out there and get on camera and, talk to a bunch of strangers and be like, yeah, okay, here's the topic of the day. This shit is hard, right? So, like Pop said, bear with us. We're new at this, but at the same time, we got the personalities for it, and it's based in, genuineness. Just essentially helping people where it's needed most. So,
yeah, and as to that, I want to say, not to cut you off, Jason, I apologize. But as to that, as Jason was saying, we're trying to have a sense of vulnerability because it's not easy. It's not easy to get on, a camera or in front of people and talk about, hey, I was addicted and homeless in Kensington. Like, yeah, I used to shoot up. I used to go boost and rob people to get high. Like, that's not, something I'm proud of, but I'm proud of I came from that. And now the blessings that I have received in my life over the last 3 years, this is one of the main reasons I wanted to do, is to show people that anybody can rise. Like, there's this saying that the young people got, like, I got it out the mud and all that. And they don't even know what that means. Like, and I'm not special, like I said, but I really got it out the mud. Like, I was laying in the mud, sleeping on the street. So that's what I'm trying. It's not easy to be vulnerable and say those things because people are always going to judge, but I don't care about that. I try to take ego out of the equation. Like, we all have an ego to, a degree, but I try to remove that because it's no longer about being a tough guy and being cool. Like, all the things that I thought were important growing up, and sleeping with the most women and all these different things. Like, I try to remove myself from that. And now I just want to give back positivity to the world because people done that for me when I decided to change my life. And, I don't mind being vulnerable. So we're going to talk about stuff like that. I'm going to talk about the addiction piece, even though that's not going to be every episode, it's going to be a big part of it because, that's my story. And I want to put that I recover out loud. Even if people who know me on my social media, I always talk about recovery and my journey because I recover out loud, because there's someone that's suffering out there right now that doesn't think they can do it, that, is skeptical. And when they see somebody else and there might even be people out there who saw me in the streets on my addiction. There's a lot of people who knew me in my addiction that see me now and they constantly reach out and say, man, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe how far you come. And that's what makes it all worthwhile. But anyway, as to Jason's point, I don't care. We're going to bear everything. And, later on in later episodes, me and him are going to get into our own personal relationship and family dynamic and, the trauma that went along with it. And a lot of that has to do with me. But we're going to deal with that because, like he said, people are afraid to be vulnerable. But, we're going to bear it all. Like, this is unplugged. This is all real from the heart. And that's what we're trying to give you all. Anyway, back to you, son.
Well said, Pop. Definitely resonate with a lot of that. So, being that this is just an introduction video, right? We want to keep it simple. All right. I want to explain, how to start it, all that good stuff. Now, as far as, moving forward, right, Papa, I've got a question for you. So, in terms of helping people, right, because that's what this is rooted in. I was just thinking about what are ways that you help people in your. I don't care if it's a friend. I don't care if it's a family member. It could be a stranger off the street. Does not matter. How do you still be the light within other people's lives and give back just on your day to day?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. Honestly, I mean, I try to carry myself every day with positivity. Now I'm human. So, of course, there's days where, I have things I don't believe in bad days. So I don't ever say that word because when people say, oh, I'm having a bad day, I don't believe in no such thing like that because if you woke up, you have another chance to change it. There's no such thing as a bad day. Yes, there's bad moments, there's rough days, but I don't believe in the whole bad day thing. Anyway, but I try to carry myself with positivity, put that out. Even when I'm at work, like I'll talk to some of the young guys, even older guys, and they'll be like, oh, it sucks. It's Monday. I can't believe you got to do this. And I'm like, yeah, it's Monday, but we should be grateful because, like, for me anyway, I spent a lot of Mondays in jail where I was laying on a cot on a bunk, looking up at the ceiling, and like, man, I can't wait to get out there. I wonder what what's life's going to be like. I wonder what type of job, what type of woman I'm going to be. There's so many, and I just wanted to be out there. And in a lot of jails, they got the little tiny window and look out, and you're just looking for signs of life, and it's really depressing. So a lot of Mondays I spent in a dark place, depressed. And then I spent a lot of Mondays, as I said, in addiction, homeless on the streets, where my Mondays where I had to get up, sick because I didn't have enough drugs,
and
go out and steal.
Survive.
Out and steal and risk myself. So I try to always keep perspective because I feel like perspective, if you have the right perspective and mindset, you can change your life. And, I try to pass that on to others, like, and just explain that to them. And when they're like, oh, I can't believe I got to go to work, I try to flip it and be like, you know what? I get to go to work. I'm not in jail. I woke up this morning. Like, yeah, I might be tired. I might, want the weekend to be extended, but I get to go to work, especially for me. Like, I have a really good job now and I'm so grateful. So I try to keep gratitude at the forefront and I try to constantly pass that on to people. And, for instance, if there's people that I talk to at work or talk to on a daily basis, they'll tell you that, I try to do that. Now, again, I'm human. So, I tend to have the same things, fall into the traps but then I got to constantly pull myself back and remember those days in jail and those days in addiction and realize all the blessings that I have. 100%. And, constantly makes gratitude. And then as far as physical, like tangible things that I've done, as you know, like now I left that job. But when I first, came out of rehab, jail, and then the rehab, I went to a halfway house. And that halfway house was a big part for me in changing my life around, the staff, the people there, and even the guy that directs it, Coop. Shout out to Coop. Coop, I love you, brother. Self-help. Coop, I was in rehab and I was looking for a place to go, and Coop was like, you want to come? And then he kind of talked to me, explained some things to me, and he disappeared. 20 minutes later, he came back. He was like, you're in. It was like that. It's because he's a director and he works as a consultant at the rehab that I was at. And anybody who knows Coop is just an amazing human being. Like, he's selfless. Like, his whole life is about recovery and, his family. So, actually makes me teary eyed think about, because Coop is just unbelievable.
And anyway. It sounds like he looked out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, my point was, I came through the halfway house, and then eventually, I transitioned through the program and I went up to the top floor where you rent your room and then you have a little more freedom. And then I wound up becoming an employee there, working. So I started to, talk to different clients and helping them. And then when I saw new guys come in, a lot of new guys that I knew, that I grew up with, guys that I didn't know. If I saw somebody that didn't have clothes or sneakers or, cigarettes, a lot of people in recovery, they can't quit the smoking. Yeah, exactly. Right. So I would take for my personal stuff, my personal clothes, my sneakers. I would go buy them cigarettes, whatever, to try to put that, sense of a little bit of joy and a little bit that somebody's looking out and cares about you, because they're coming from a dark place, whether it be the streets, getting high, jail. They're coming from a dark place, so they're not used to people genuinely trying to help them, or like rooting for them. Especially when you're in the streets, everybody's like it's like trying to get over. So it's a flip, and a lot of times they're not ready for that. But I always try to just put that energy out to them and give and I don't care about the material stuff. I gave a ton of sneakers and clothes and bought a bunch of cigarettes, but it's just that little piece to try to help people. And then, also just talking to people every day. I have people that reach out on my Messenger or on Facebook or other social medias, like when I post about my recovery, and, I'll kind of go back and forth with them, but I just try to put the positivity out to the world and just try to, speak on my experience and give to others what was freely given to me, and that helped. And that's how all of this originated. And I know you were on the same type of journey, even though you don't have the same story as me.
Right.
And that's how we developed this, to be honest.
No, 100%. And I love what you said about the relationships that you develop, right? The connections that you have with other people, the humanity. Starting to see common themes here that was present, that actually gave you a safe place to actually get past a lot of your demons and your traumas. And
I mean,
like
I don't know if I'm supposed to say self-help, but they're not paying us for this. I'm just shouting them out because that place was integral in, my transformation. And Coop, like I said, was the director, just from top to bottom, the staff, the counselor that I had, everything. It was just a big part of, me transitioning into actually having a life again, so that's why I said, like, even talking about it again, I kind of get a little, emotional, because it really
bring it back.
Exactly.
And you're kind of reliving it like, oh shit.
And it really came from that. It really was like such a big thing. And then also anybody who follows me, on social media or whatever, as I'm Muslim, and as you know, we were raised Christian. So I've been Christian for most of my life. And I reverted to Islam. We say revert because that's the term I prefer. Anyway, I reverted to Islam about 3 years ago. And between like self-help, the counselors that I had, my own internal work with like trauma and dealing with the stuff that I had to work on head on, and then Islam gave me the discipline and got me centered with the discipline of praying 5 times a day, and like a higher focus. Those are the pillars, like you said, that really changed it, because a lot of my story was relapse. You know, because you're my son. I'd be missing again. I'd be straight, and then I'd be missing again, and here he goes again. Like, and I know in the beginning with you were skeptical, like, he's just going to go, and because that's a big. I don't
even mean to laugh or smile, but just but it's back in retrospect. It's funny now in retrospect,
because the outcome on the other side.
Right.
But
and everybody's cool now, and everybody's we're getting back to a good place in terms of relationship with the family. But back then, looking back on it now, it almost seems unreal. Because it's like all the bullshit that not only you had to go through. I had my own personal journey as well. Which we'll talk about openly.
Your brother, my youngest son, he struggled. He struggled with the same struggles as me. Yeah. So our family went through a lot. So
we don't have anything to hide here. Yeah. It's all in transparency. And
the people will find out. We know, but the people will find out that our family has gone through a lot personally, like all families, especially when addiction hits. But there's a lot of stuff that we dealt with. And like Jason said, to see and feel us come out the other side and be where we're at now, again, makes me emotional. I'm an emotional creature. So, and I don't really care about ego. So if I shed some tears, so be it. But, hey, listen, when talking about my family, it means a lot to me. And to see us come out the other side and everybody doing so well, like my youngest son, his brother, Quinn, he's a barber. He's part owner in a shop. Like his life is elevating. Jason's got, a good job. I have a good job. I have a great woman. Like, our life, then my granddaughter, his niece, Quinn's daughter, has come into our life a few years ago. Like, so many things have happened for us, but it was a lot of dark days. So to see all of us come out the other side, like you said, it almost seemed surreal, like it didn't happen. And especially for me, Like I'll be going down the street some days, I'll be driving and I'll see, CVS or right. And I used to torture those people boosting. Like it's sad. Like I used to literally walk in and
Like,
they, as soon as they would see me, the person at the counter would say, all associates to all aisles. Like they would literally bombard me because they knew what I was coming in for. Like it's
Right.
funny now. It's not funny, but it's just
the moment you're fucking going through it, you're like, damn, like I need to get.
But what I'm saying now is I drive by like a CVS and all those things come back, and it's like you said, it's almost like it seems like it happened to somebody else. But then on the flip side, after that, then the gratitude comes that I don't have to live like that anymore. And I earn my money honestly. And, I feel like I've repented for that and, made up for it. I suffered a lot in the process, but like, it's just so crazy when you come out the other side. And that's what I was getting at, when I talk about the recovery thing, like it's possible for anybody, man. Like I was a mess and he knows, like when they heard from me, they're like, oh, he wants money or he wants this. And now it's different. Like we talk, almost every day, if not every day. It's like 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
Me, him, and his brother will be on like a group call, talking sports or talking just life.
Yeah,
and,
just chopping it up.
Yeah. So it's amazing, like he said, to see yourself and your family come out the other side. And, people talk about being rich. Like money's great. It makes the world go around and all that. But and don't get me wrong, I want to make as much as possible, but I'm rich in other ways. I'm rich in family. I'm rich in gratitude. And, again, I have a great woman, job,
there's so many things
and then my relationship, with my higher power. Like I said, Islam has been such a key part of my life. And I know, in this country, and a lot of people have the wrong perception of Islam due to propaganda and stigma and all that. But, a lot of that is just people not being educated, and just like any group, you have, bad apples in every bunch or whatever you want to say. But, those things have really helped me. And again, that's Jason's journey is a little different, but we want to just share that with the world to help other people just kind of improve themselves too. And look, this isn't a healed product. I tell people all the time, like, I don't use the term healed. I use the term healing because I feel like I'm a constant work in progress. We all are. It's funny too. I got a tattoo. It says almost healed because I'll never be healed. I might be almost healed, but I'm a constant work in progress. There's certain things. And like you said, there's certain things that still pop up. And I have to deal with certain like behaviors, and I have to, when I see them, identify them and deal with them. And, certain days, like I said, I won't be in the best of moods. So I have to constantly pull myself back because I feel like we're all a work in progress, 100%. In life. Like nobody is healed.
I mean, not even addiction aside, just as people in general.
And that's what I'm saying.
We're going through our life. I mean, we're different people from yesterday as far as, what we're experiencing, the different things that we see throughout our lives. So, I mean, you throw in the addiction aspect in there too. That's just a whole extra element that you have to navigate. And then you have a whole new set of obstacles. But, the journey never stops. And, we're here for it as far as being able to help people. And frankly, I feel like what makes us different is we're helping ourselves too. As far
absolutely.
as like we're on our journey as far as healing, whatever it is.
I'll tell you honestly,
addiction.
And not to interrupt you, but like in recovery, not to, again, like I said, we're going to touch on that a lot, but just what you were asking me about helping people, those times where I gave a guy who was coming into, the halfway house and had no clothes, no sneakers, nothing, just giving them that and to see the gratitude, like, oh man, thank you. And I'm going buying them even some cigarettes, food, whatever it is, to help another human being. Like I got high for years. I did pretty much every drug, again, not proud of it, but it's just the truth. But to help another human being and then especially in recovery, like someone you talk to and you see them gradually getting better, the feeling you get, there's no high that could touch that. Like I've watched guys that, I kind of groomed that came into, I wasn't a counselor or anything, but personally, like just kept talking to and staying with and trying to reinforce positive, thoughts and everything. And always every day, like, yo, you all right? You need anything? And seeing a person like hit 90 days clean, 6 months clean, and to see like their body gain weight. Now they got a job and they got nice clothes and they didn't have nothing to begin to see that. There's no high in the world that could touch that.
Well, that's
literally. Like I would literally feel my body would have like this tingling vibration high because it's the ultimate high. It's not an artificial. It's not an artificial. I got to put something in. It's humanity,
it's
like you said. Yeah,
right?
it's humanity coming and just blessing you. Yeah, right. To see that, it's just amazing. There's nothing that can touch that.
Well, that's what it is. Like there's some type of void, especially with the drugs. Now I've had my own issues, in terms of addictions. Nothing, to the extent of Pops' experience, but drinking, hanging out with the wrong people. Just keeping a bunch of people around that shouldn't have been there, stupid, dummy mistakes. But in terms of the drinking, that was my biggest vice. And now I barely even drink, here and there. But where I'm going with this is essentially, it's different, right? It's different for everybody. But the human connection and the fulfillment aspect of what you were talking about, Pop, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and it's not to interrupt, but to what you were saying about like everybody's, story or what they struggle with. Some might be drugs, some might be alcohol, some might be, porn, or, some people, are abusive or whatever it is. Like I feel like it all comes down to trauma, and we're going to get into trauma later and like a whole episode kind of dedicated to that. But I feel like everything is trauma based. Like we do these things, whether it's, drugs, alcohol, porn and all, we do that because, when we were kids, we were innocent, but then you're exposed to life and you're so exposed to certain
100%.
circumstances and you become traumatized to different things and people and all that. And as we get older, we start using these artificial things, whether it be a drug, alcohol, porn, whatever, because we're trying to escape that. We haven't dealt with that head on. And it's like a numbing thing. That thing, it's an escape. It takes us away from that. And like you were saying,
it's the void. That's
exactly.
What I call it. It's the void. And to be able to help somebody, that's the fulfillment. That's filling the void that you're looking for all along. The connection, the humanity, self-purpose, fulfillment, all these core values that people should be living by, but unfortunately they don't because they're lost. So 100%.
And then like, even like, for me, like I said, I kept relapsing because, and you could put the drugs down, but until you deal with the underlying issue, the drugs or the drink or whatever, you could put that down. But until you deal with the real wound inside, you're going to go back. You have to deal with the trauma head on. And that was my problem of why I kept relapsing. I didn't deal with the trauma. And one of the biggest things besides, all the things I talked about was I was introduced to journaling by a counselor in rehab. And I thought I was too cool. Like, I'm not doing that. Like corny ass dudes do that. I'm too cool for that. And she was like, look, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Like, you try it. Just try it. I was like, all right, I'll try it just to please her. And the crazy thing is, I wrote the first night. Second day, I'm like, I want to write again. And wound up falling in love with it. And as people know, I've been writing for over 3 years. I got like 7 or 8 copybooks filled, which I'm eventually going to publish and, kind of condense and publish into a book. And that's kind of how even all of this wound up evolving. But that journaling was so big for me because it became like a personal therapist at any time. If I woke up at 3 a.m. and was anxious or had something on my mind, boom, I got a personal therapist right there. I write it down because later on what happens is maybe a month down the line, you read that back and you're like, you could actually, if you keep reading, you could see yourself changing.
You see the progression.
You see the progression and the changing through the pages. And it's unbelievable. And that was so huge for me. So again, like I feel like dealing with the trauma is so huge. And even if you don't deal with it in that way, talk to somebody, do some therapy.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not linear. Like, there's more than one way to solve an issue.
And then that's what I talk about.
On the person too.
Developing a program, not just for recovery, but in life, like a program that works for you, to make yourself a better person. And again, it's not healed, it's healing. You know, you're on a healing journey. You're trying to heal these
continues.
wounds so you don't have to turn to alcohol or drugs or porn, or, you know, you don't have this anger where you're beating your wife or so on and so forth, you know. But yeah, I feel that trauma is one of the big things, and I've dealt with that. And, you know, between that and then the other factors, like I was saying in my life, you know, it's just unbelievable the life I have today. So.
No, 100%. And I mean, you guys will hear us talk about this a lot. I mean, you know, trauma, that's just one of the many topics that we're going to be talking about moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's about, you know, spiritual enlightenment, you know, it's about personal growth, overcoming the trauma, you know, addiction, recovery, dealing with certain obstacles in your life, which I feel like would be a great time to mention our program. It's called Apex Alchemy. It's actually our website. It's going to be up October 1st as well. That is our core program to essentially help people. I'm not going to give too much away. Just want to, you know, throw it out there as a little teaser right now. But there's some big things in the works, which is exciting not only for us on our journey and our continued healing, but for you guys as well. Because even if it resonates with only a few people, I don't care if it's 2, 3, 4, it does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
We still helped, and we still
help somebody
that we were just talking about too.
And so, if I could speak to that real quick, Apex Alchemy. There's a reason why we named it that. People might be like, "Ah, it's a weird name," but if you look at it, Apex is the peak. It's the peak of something, like the apex of a mountain. Yep. And anybody who knows what the word alchemy means, alchemy was really the transformation of basic metals into gold. So we're doing it as a personal thing. So it's peak transformation, and peak transformation as people, you know, trying to transform ourselves, and Jason and I included, you know, all of us trying to get to the peak of transformation. So whether it be physical, spiritual, you know, mental, emotional, just keep getting better to try to reach that peak of transforming ourselves into better people. And, you know, that's where we came up with the name. And I think it's very fitting. You know, that's the goal, is to just constantly reach for that peak and transform ourselves into better people. You know, like Jason said in the very beginning, there's way too much negativity in the world, and, you know, just putting that, you know, positivity and trying to help people reach, you know, their full potential is what our, you know, our mission really is.
We block that out, all that negative shit.
Yeah.
We don't subscribe to that. This is pure positivity, and we keep it pushing at the end of the day. Yeah. So and on that note, I did want to wrap things up for this introduction episode, but go ahead, Pops, if you have
that was it. I mean, I was just going to say, you know, like to what you said about the negativity, you know, if you have people that, you know, limit you, that don't believe in your dreams, that don't pour back into you, you know, if it should be reciprocal. If you pour into somebody, they should pour back, whether it be relationship, friendship, whatever. If somebody's not pouring back into you and you're not serving each other, they don't belong in your life. And especially if they're like constantly, you know, raining on your dreams, or, you know, constantly have something negative to say, you need to cut those people out of your life. And I don't care if it's mom, dad, brother, sister, husband, wife, friend, coworker. If somebody is not good for you, there's tons of people in relationships that are not supposed to be with the person that they're with. So, you know, if somebody's not serving you and you're not serving them, like, you know, reciprocating that with each other, you know, they shouldn't be in your life, and you need to cut them off, especially if like you have certain aspirations and you want to do this, and they're like, oh, come on, man. And they're trying to always put a damper on that. You need to cut that person off for real. And you need to be around people that serve you and you serve them. And you're constantly, when you're down, they're pouring into your cup, and when they're down, you're pouring into, that's the way it's supposed to work. And, you know, that's, you know, the biggest thing. You have to remove that negative energy. As Jason said, you got to remove those people and that energy. Anything negative in your life, you need to just get rid of it, period. And, you know, we're all human, but start cutting that stuff off, and I guarantee you your life will improve. But anyway.
No, I couldn't agree more. And again, guys, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? So, ton more content coming to you, especially on social media. We're on YouTube now, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You guys can find us on there. Links are on the website. That'll be on there as well. But as far as the introduction, it's going to wrap it up. Appreciate the support for you guys. And at the end of the day, stay unplugged.
Absolutely. And change the narrative. That's what I would say. Change the narrative. That's the biggest thing. Let's change the narrative, change the conversations, and we'll meet you at the peak.